I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just...
Yeah, what's up? What's going on? It's Super Dave back at it again with the PA Political Revolution podcast, right? Now we back at it again where this episode should be an unapologetic one, right? We're probably going to hurt some feelings on this one. We're going to get some people mad and their feelings are going to get hurt, right? So stay tuned to this one. This is going to be a good one, right? It's probably going to be one of the better ones that we've had in a while. But we always have good ones. So, you know, this one should be that same level or it should be surpassed the level that we normally give you over here at the Revolution Podcast, right? The PA Political Revolution Podcast. And basically what this episode is going to be about, right? It's going to be about this, about something. I'm going to kind of go into a little thing on the misconception of diversity, right? And also, but basically it's going to really be about this recent, this recent political forum that they had, right? By this guy named Dr. Levi, Dr. Levi Barnes. And this guy kind of is a newcomer. Let's go ahead and get right into it, right? Let me go ahead and pull up my screen. This is pretty much a guy, a new type of guy, right? He, from what I know, he sings, according to him, right? He sings, writes, speaking abilities to heal the world, right? And just hold on that healing the world type of thing. Called himself an artist, a preacher, civil rights activist. I don't know what he's done. Was a native of New Orleans, and well-traveled. He has some type of education. I think a master's degree in theology or something like doctorate in theology. Some ministry type of deal. And what he got? He serves multiple vocations, whatever. He's a CEO of Q Products. I think that's some kind of hair tonic that he made, like a hair growing tonic. Yeah, hair regrowth spray where you're supposed to spray in and grow your hair. Both have done some stuff in beauty supply stores. Zach Home was some kind of home development company now. Go ahead now, just remember that home development. He's some type of healer and home development. Just kind of remember that. Remember those two things. The partner of mortgage dynamics with his wife, right? He has some type of housing business that he so-called has. Well, you claim to have. Music, he's seen to produce some couple of albums, some stuff, some gospel albums, a book, The America. So he came to be doing all of these different things, right? All these kind of different things. He's a former high school chemistry biologist. So he got his hand in pretty much, different things, whatever, according to him. Now this is something that I kind of wanted to highlight, right? Dr. Levi Barnes serves as bishop of Bethel Temple Church located in Hamlin, California, and New Orleans. So he's flying from New Orleans to California, I guess. I don't know. He also travels to share the wondrous works of the God by singing and preaching around the world. He periodically holds miracle services and prophecy conferences in various cities, revealing the true power of God, right? There have been multiple accounts of people sick of cancer, AIDS, and paralysis being healed in his miracle services, right? Dr. Levi has also hosted several TV ministry shows on the CWCTN and the public access. People have witnessed the power of Jesus Christ through the television ministry, and the kingdom of God has been advanced through his efforts. So he claims that he has healed people of cancer, AIDS, and paralysis. You're looking at it right here. Yeah, you should be looking at it. So he claims to have done all this stuff, right? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. He claims to, done all these things, but let me go over here and when I was doing this, when I started the actual podcast, right, I ended up kind of finding something up. I was just kind of doing it on the fly while looking up something. I just kind of found these videos, right? Now let me go ahead and try to see what you can, if you kind of hear something right here.
For a reason. Whatever's going on in your body is happening for a reason. Sometimes God allows things to happen to us to get our attention. There was a woman who came to our service. I'm just going to deviate briefly. She was diagnosed with cancer. A few months before she came to our service, they removed the cancerous lesion from her body, from her leg. And then they found a tumor in her liver. And so the doctors attributed that to be the source of her cancer. So she came to our service, and the Lord told me to have the people. Now this, I didn't know who was going to be there, but the Lord told me to tell the people of God to cry out to him, because he hears our cries, and to cry out to him like a newborn baby, like babies. He receives the little children, doesn't he? And as we were...
Now that was a kind of a little awkward pause about doesn't he receive the kid? I don't know what that meant, but I don't know. I'm just kind of, I don't know.
He receives the little children, doesn't he? And as we were in service, this woman, she was 68 years old at the time, and I saw her crying. And it wasn't just a boo-hoo cry. She cried and she wept sore. And she cried, and just then God opened my eyes. Hallelujah. And he allowed me to see in his eyes. And I saw her as a baby. Now, this was before I had my own children. But I'm looking at this 68-year-old lady crying as a baby. And I'm looking at her in the eyes of God. And the Lord spoke to me and said that that tumor is now going to be turned benign. And so I shared the word that God shared with me. And she rejoiced and everyone praised God. And 2 weeks later, she got a report back from the doctor, and the doctors were so confused because the tumor was benign. The Lord healed her in that service. Even after they gave her a diagnosis of cancer, the tumor was benign. This woman is almost 80 years old, living cancer-free to this day. And she's a healthy 80-year-old lady too. She and I, we still keep in touch from time to time. But at this time, Hannah, the Bible says that the Lord shut up a woman. I think back on when God had given me that word for that lady. I asked God, Lord, why did you allow this cancer to touch her body? And the Lord said, I was trying to get her attention. So Hannah, the Bible says again, the Lord shut up her womb. Not heredity, not just being shaped badly. The womb was shut by the Lord.
Okay, right. So you see here we have this guy that's into a lot of things. And, another one of these pastors, these miracle worship service pastors, I don't know if it's true or not. Me, I doubt it, because we have if this is your gift, right? If you really can heal people of cancer, AIDS, and paralysis, right? And you claim to be a church-going, God-fearing man, wouldn't you be doing this full time? You see what I'm saying? I mean, people, I'm just tired of all of these weirdo type of pastors, right? We have some thug pastors that pull out guns on kids. Now we got these super miracle worship services claiming that they healing people. And you got some of the other adulterant lying pastors, that's on council. Got these drug smoking pastors, drug using pastors on council. We have a problem with following the worst of our leadership in the name of the Lord. Can I get an amen to that? Church. Right? And from this gentleman, right, this is no disrespect to any of them, but there's just some things that I've seen, I've kind of peeped out that I'm sick and tired of Port Arthur individuals falling for the okie doke and all of these crazy type of lies, what's going on. That I've seen another one of his little pastor stuff.
We're continuing our series on your healing. Last week we talked about how the devil will come in and cause issues in your life and cause illnesses and diseases. The enemy has been sent to destroy your body. But in Jesus' name, we're casting that devil out. And that devil was cast out. Hallelujah.
Okay, so first he said Jesus gave him, put the cancer in the person's body to get their attention. Now he's saying that the devil is doing it. But and
you're walking in the victory.
I'm just kind of going as I see it. I'm just kind of going.
But let's move a little bit further. Let's talk about when it's not the devil. When you've been living your life for God, you've been around the right people. John chapter 11, we're going to look at verse number 4. God allows illnesses to come in our lives, and we haven't done anything wrong. We have been in place for God's blessings. Lazarus, done what you know to do is right. You've been going to church, you've been praying, you've been seeking God, you fast and you pray, and you follow in the footsteps of God, and all of a sudden, bam, illness, sickness. Doing work for other people, healing people that had not even known God, people that had not had a relationship with God, people who had not sown into the ministry of God, people that had not walked with Jesus, people that had not did it. As a matter of fact, some people who were not even willing to believe for their healing, but yet you were believing, Lazarus was believing, and Jesus wasn't showing up. Mary and Martha, they were mourning for their brother. They mourned, and as a matter of fact, when Jesus showed up to the scene, he wept. But God's trying to get a message to you. He came to them, he said, your brother shall live. And his sister's like, well, yeah, we know, Lord, and when you come again. But Jesus wanted to let them know something. They thought that he was going to live again in the resurrection, but Jesus came to give him a message that I am the resurrection. He gave them that revelation.
Okay, I wasn't going to go all into this. I just want to kind of show you everybody the type of gentleman we have. Or I'm just pointing out. Some of this stuff seems weird to me, right? It's just to me. You may think that it's fine or whatever, but I have a problem, right? When you have people that claim to be pastors of God, messages from God or spirits of God, that claims to heal the people of cancer, AIDS, and paralysis, right? Because a lot of times you have people that'll get off their medication, right? There's something that could probably really help them with it, or even if it's traditional or holistic types of medicines, right? And going just in the word of this pastor, not this pastor, but any type of pastor, right? They probably could be giving them a whole lot of money, and for just in turn of praying, and that person thinking that they're going to get healed, but never end up doing that. So I kind of have a personal problem with all of these pastors that kind of pimp that prophecy, the healing type of deal, when they shouldn't be like that. So that's just kind of something I kind of noticed, right? But then again, getting off of this, we're going to go into the actual debates that he had, right? It was pretty much a city council, city of Port Arthur council 1 through 6 districts, right? Now he had, and he had up here. Well, first he started off in reverse, right? Normally it's like 1 through 6 districts, but he started at number 6, and the two candidates as in number 6 are Donald Frank and Chuck Vincent. Now, to me, this one was a complete wash. This one was a complete wash by Chuck Vincent. Chuck Vincent tore Donald Frank a new behind, right? And because in this debate, he seemed like the perfect outsider. He seemed like the perfect agent of change. Now, Donald Frank not careful, right? He'll probably end up losing his seat, because if he keep talking like that, if he talk to a lot of people and how Frank talked to a lot of people, right? You can just kind of see Frank is just with the old guard. Nothing's going to change with him. He's still in the same old mind frame of thinking. He's not really trying to do anything to fix the city. He's just going along to get along with the same status quo, right? Not doing anything to fix it. Just going along and and letting the blight increase within the city. Chuck Vincent, despite his racism, right, he's looking. He can make people forget about it. He's talking like that. He can make people forget about it. And so I think that Donald Frank probably kind of underestimated him because of all of Chuck's racial past or whatnot, a lot of his posts and whatnot, and how he feels about certain people. Certain demographic of people, he screaming, diversity. He kind of feel that he didn't have to do much homework. Now, Chuck know a few of the issues that's wrong or whatnot, because he listens to me and he also talks to other people that he know or whatnot. So he has some ideas of some of the problems. I don't agree with all of his answers to the problems, but he do know some of the problems, right? And if you know what's going on with the city, you can easily articulate, and give a good pushback to these candidates, because it's simply sad that this council, right, it is poorly performed. It is poorly performed these, several years with these council people since 2019 or so. Since Barty became mayor, and after that's when everything started going, downhill or whatnot. So this one, Chuck Vincent completely washed him out, and then he sound energized. He sound like a fresh idea, fresh new idea. Now Frank, he had a lot of old church ad libs he was trying to say. It just didn't flow right. He had a bad night on that. It just didn't flow right. He really couldn't explain stuff. He basically was lying on there. I think one of the questions was asked him about, what do you feel that with the disrespect going on council? He said since he been there, he's never seen any disrespect, which that was a complete lie, because, Mayor Barty violates the Open Meeting Act and violates different people all the time. So, it's not, it happens often, way too often on there. So Chuck, he came out smelling like a rose on that one. Next one, we going to District 5, right? That's what Thomas Kinlaw, Matthews Christian, and a gentleman by the name of Alan Jacobs, right? Mr. Alan Jacobs, he's a newcomer on here. He seemed like he was pretty nervous, whatnot. I don't know too much about him. I think he said he worked at the city. I don't know which department he worked in or whatnot. But if I believe correctly, he did say he worked at the city. So I think he worked in the maintenance or whatnot. Maintenance probably could be repairing on the equipment. So I guess he wants to run, kind of, do a good thing in the, kind of do his part or whatnot in the city. But, he just needs to know more of the issues and better articulate some of the issues out. And Matthews Christian, he ran for, next hand is Matthews Christian. He ran for mayor the previous time, right? And the mayor was going on. He wasn't successful in that campaign, but I noticed he's been going to council since then. As much as he can go to council, sitting on council, looking at the meetings and whatnot. So, I think he'll be a good candidate in the future. Hopefully, he continues to keep going to the council meeting and see what's going on, and hopefully he talk to people like Ducette, Bay Lewis, John Beard, or any other politicians, kind of understand, see what's going on over in council, so he can get a pretty good understanding, and and learn about it. I think he's a good positive person. I think he'll be a good choice for it also, for District 5. Now you have Thomas Kinlaw. Now Thomas Kinlaw is running for re-election. He's a current with 3 council members. Right, he's going to be terming out with 3. Yeah, I think it's 3 for his normal district position and going to this at large for position 5 or District 5. And Kinlaw, he's done some good things on council. I like when at one time he was kind of fighting back, but my only criticism of Mr. Kinlaw, Dr. Kinlaw, is he needs to go against the grain more. He's more of a type of personality that wants to be friends with everybody. That's cool, but there's a lot of times. Well, the city is too messed up right now to have a lot of friends. And I understand you paying the politics or whatnot, but I think Thomas Kinlaw could have been one of the best political candidates if he had that actual fight in him. If he had the fight to go against the grain, he'd probably be one of the best ones out this city. I mean, yeah, he could. I can see it because he has the intelligence of it. He has the intelligence, to understand this stuff. And if he just wanted to go that way, he can probably be a good one. But he kind of walk that line. He'll kind of stir up some stuff for a little bit, and then kind of pull back on it. But that's my only criticism of it. He's the current one that's that's on council right now that's going for position 5. Or position 5 or District 5. And going on to District 4. District 4, you have Kenneth Marks over there. You have Alan Vaca. You have Alicia Marshall. You have Errol Ducette. First thing with Alicia Marshall, right? She's ran a few times over there in District 4. You'll see her every now and again, but she seems like she still don't understand the problems of the city, right? You can kind of hear on that she's kind of, unsure of what's going on and heavily reading off of the notes that she has, but kind of stumbling a little bit. She's been in here a long time. Well, she's been into the politics for a long time. By now, you should know a lot where you can call out pretty much these things off the top of your head. Because, if you run one time, you would think if you plan on running at a future time, you should pay attention to what's going on in politics. And I think that, she doesn't do that. She kind of probably run for the moment or whatnot, but you can actually tell that by the way how she gives a debate. Alan Vaca, named by the Opie, right? But when I hear this gentleman, mainly got into politics because he felt that, he was probably done wrong because he has a tow truck business, right? So I think you couldn't park tow trucks in the city limits, something like that. You couldn't park them by your house. So he has to move his truck from his house and put it in somewhere else. So, figure that's an injustice to him. So he wants to go ahead and get on council and run and try to change some things. So, that's where he's coming from. But I don't believe, he has a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding that what's going on. And it seems to be a lot of the white candidates has formed like a little clique, and they've been talking about diversity and some of the populations not being represented and other things like that. So I'll get on that more a little bit later. And you have Kenneth Marks, the current District 4 councilman, right? From what I hear, From what I'm hearing, a lot of people are not really thrilled with Kenneth Marks. What I'm hearing, right? He's still having the banker's hours. He's not really wanting to come. He wants to have like a 9-to-5 job when he's dealing with the citizens, from what I'm hearing, right? And he's also making bad decisions on council, lying on council, doing people dirty. Just like the young entrepreneur that was on the EDC, he had removed. So it's a lot of things going on with Councilmember Marks, not really fighting for the people, not getting things done. Just part of the status quo that's going on with City Council. And just giving a cover to what needs to change, right? He was in with Barty on the live talking about that he going to these meetings and also getting money to come back to the city, which that was a lie. So, these people, they like to go on these trips and, spend the money and splurge on the taxpayers' dime. So, he's with the bull crap. So, he's a part of what needs to change. Now you have former council member Harold Ducette, right? To me, it's clearly, obviously, he's the choice that should be the council member for District 4, right? Hopefully he wins District 4 because Mr. Ducette, he has all the knowledge and that knows what needs to be done, should be done. He has his information tip-top shape on the drainage projects, the street projects, the underlying water repair. He's been there and putting in work to make sure a lot of these things are happening. So we need him back on there to make sure that he can hold the city manager and the staff that's accountable for doing these things. So he is clearly, obviously, in my opinion, the best choice for District 4. Now we have District 3. Mr. Charlie Lewis, he was not able to attend for whatever reason. You have Mr. Charles Joseph, Wanda Bowden, and Donnie Beckham. Right, Ms. Beckham, she's an attorney here in the city of Port Arthur. She's a no-nonsense type of person, what I can see. When she was at the event, she didn't like, she smiled at anybody. She came there to, was with a serious demeanor, wanted to take care of some business. She came up in there and pretty much told everybody needs to have diversity on the council, basically meaning that there's too many black folks on the council, right? So I thought that was kind of interesting that she said that in a room full of mostly black individuals, right, that they need to have diversity on the council. So it seems like that she's in with the clique with Charles Vincent, OP, and some other people that's trying to overthrow this all black council, right? That's what I suspect. That's my opinion on it. And she also have some. I think she had made a post that she had probably took down in another group. I have the post where she's talking about she running for this campaign that has nothing to do with race, but she screams that they need a lot of diversity. So that's somebody you have to watch out for. She seems to have some decent principles, right? If you didn't know she was racist or suspect to be racist, she could be a decent candidate because she has some of the things that are sound. Some things seem to be all right, but the way that her tone and her attitude and her inflections, it seems to be that she has an ulterior motive, right? She wants to remove some of these black folks that's in the council, out of power pretty much. That's kind of what I suspect. And she's, and in my opinion, she's like trying to make this move to take control back of the city, right? To get the good old boy system going again. So, that reason I can't say no. I don't think she'll be really receptive to real diversity because I believe she thinks that, it's a problem now, So I'm going to go back in on I'm going to talk more about that when I do my other little monologue on diversity. And you have Miss Wanda Bowden, right? She seems like another fine candidate, decent candidate or whatnot. Don't know too much about her. The only thing I don't like, I posted on the page and a couple other spots. I think I sent her an actual DM, but if I can interview her, she didn't return the calls, anything like that. So that's the only other thing that I don't like, right? That she didn't want to, want me to interview her. So It ain't no big problem. It's a first time candidate. People probably could have been in the ear that, hey, don't talk to him, or he asks tough questions or whatnot, whatever. So the one that really stood out for me is Mr. Charles Joseph, right? Because he kind of was hitting back as well. His main thing was talking about accountability, right? And that's what you need. Is we already have the plans for stuff. We already have the money to get things going on, right? Getting these streets and drainage done. But the problem we have is execution. We have a problem with execution, right? We have a problem with so much so, right, that we don't even understand the system to pay our own bills. We have a flawed system where contractors don't want to come do work for us because we don't pay them on time. You know what I mean? So people, you have to understand the issues at this city is ferocious. It's sad. I mean, you really need to look at this stuff and understand that we have a serious problem that we need actual go-getters to go ahead out there and fix. We can't get people that's playing, people that have an ulterior motive, people want to do pep rallies and stuff like that. So you got to understand the seriousness of this, and we need to put serious people that can go ahead and get it done. And Charles Joseph, he seems like the one that can go ahead and get through it. A military guy. He's on accountability. He seems that he's going to ask the questions. He seems like he's going to go ahead and get things done. And I like Mr. Charles Joseph for this position, right? And also he kind of clap back at Miss Beckham, so to speak, in something about diversity. He was like, she said something be diverse. Well, there's other spots that need to be diverse also. So, it's sad when you have, when there's an all-black council, now you're having all these people talking about diversity, but when you have a majority white chamber of commerce, nobody's saying anything about that. When these contracts don't go to black companies, nobody's saying anything about that. So only when you get in the council, we kind of talk about diversity where, we need to switch it up, or hell, they even had a black council for shit too long. So, But Mr. Charles Joseph, he really did a good job on that, and he really impressed me by his willingness to go ahead and go against the grain, right? So that's what we need on council. District 2, we have Tiffany Hamilton, right? We have Tiffany Hamilton and Armando Ruiz. And Tiffany Hamilton, she's been on there before. She's been one of these ones that's been taking a lot of trips on the taxpayer's dime. And, really not looking out for the citizens, right? Wanting to do a smoke-free ordinance for the city so to kill all the businesses out there, right? So, you just have to watch out with her, right? I don't know why she came back in, but, hey, if she wins, it's going to be another problem. She's going to be against the grain again. Well, she's going to be with the grain, with the status quo, and against change. And you have Armando Ruiz, right? A gentleman has, his own little side business, side hustle things going on, and I think he'll be a good person for this. And I mean, he can. The only thing I didn't like about him, he need to be a little bit more. He need to understand the issues a little bit more and to have some better comebacks on there. But besides that, he'll be a good change. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near as damaging as Tiffany Hamilton. So I think he'll be a positive change for a council. So, and another thing I didn't like about the District 2, what they were talking about, right? Miss Tiffany Hamilton, she was talking about trying to find grants for some underwater pipelines again. Because when she was on council before, she was talking about contracting out the water department. So that's going to be another disaster. And that's what it sounds like she's trying to do. We're going to be stuck with being at the mercy of these contractors. They can just raise the rate up on us at any time they want to do. And it's going to be sad if she gets on there and she pushes this water issue, this contracting out the water department. So I mean, oh man, she's gonna watch out for this. She's gonna cause a whole lot of problems. She's gonna cause a whole lot. She was also talking about meeting state. She could she can help us meeting people on the federal level. It's the same talk that she used to excuse those trips, right? Same thing. So she's gonna be like, that's the same type of Barty talk. Going to these trips going to help them do their job better, which they won't. It's still, they still can't do what they need to do. We are probably worse off now than we was a few years ago. So they don't need to go on all these trips, and that's why the city had amended the travel orders to try to stop all this. So it's just another problem. We don't need Miss Hamilton. In my opinion, we don't need her on the council again, because we're going to, have a whole lot of headaches, and she's not for the people. Okay, and also, going to District 1. Now, this is an interesting one right here. We have a Tahiri Cure and the Willie Bay Lewis, right? Some people suspect that she had the questions. The questions were given to her and Tiffany Hamlin. That's what some people suspect, right? Because some people were saying that she tends to be a little bit nervous doing on the interviews, and didn't seem to be nervous on this one. And also, she has a little bit about her. She has some type of she sells wigs, or wigs, or probably both. I think she does a resume type of service also. And I don't know what else she sells. And she got this, but a full-time job as a school teacher. Now, she is a school teacher, and you've probably seen the video of it. She was a teacher that was standing by while the other teacher was enticing those kids to fight. And on the video, that shows that the time that they showed the kids were fighting, they showed that she didn't do anything to stop it. Now, seen on another post, she claimed that she got in with, trying to help stop them, fell on the ground and all that. I don't know. But the video shows that she clearly didn't do anything or not try to stop the teacher from enticing them to fight. So when I heard she got, her and other teachers got terminated, but they got reinstated. So, she still works over there, and here from the performance over there, I don't see what she's going to do over here. I mean, she's going to watch them and let them do whatever they're going to do, right? So, oh yeah, she got this pop-up shop type of deal, right? So, look, we have people, look, this is not a pop-up shop. This is a flea market. She's made a temporary flea market and calling it a pop-up shop, right? A pop-up shop is not getting vendors, different little vendors in one space like King's Flea Market was in Houston, right? That's pretty much what it is. You having different booths with different people on there, and she calls it a pop-up shop. No, what a pop-up shop really is, right, is like if you have an online business and you go create and you go use a storefront for a limited time to try to enhance your brand, right, to give your brand a little bit more of a style, right? If you say, for instance, you make clothes, you'll probably get rented like a storefront, decorators that can try to, on different mannequins, whatever, something to do that can highlight the clothing, to highlight the style, to try to spur up your growth, right? Spur up the interest in your growth so people can kind of see it. It's to like give your brand a style, in my opinion, right? So you have a setup for your store where it can look all pretty and whatnot. And that's one business to one store. Now with this, what she did have a whole bunch of businesses in one location. That's like a flea market. You know what I'm saying? That's not a pop-up shop. That is a flea market. And she wrongly states that she had the biggest pop-up shop in Southeast Texas. That's not pop-up shop. That's a damn flea market. You know what I'm saying? So understand when you have these individuals, look, I get it. I didn't have a business before selling rims, right? I understand what it was. It's something for me to learn, me to deal with the problems of owning a business. I wasn't no super big entrepreneur and, a business person. We use this to inflate our self-worth a lot of times, right? We use these little small time businesses, these little side hustles to inflate our self-worth. When realistically, a lot of these people that's claiming all of this entrepreneurial businesswoman type of deal have a main job. And her main job is a school teacher. That's her 9 to 5. So another thing I'm trying to figure out, how, if we need her to do something, how is she going to leave school, leave with the kids to come over and tend to what I need to have tend to? I may have a busted pipe over here or something what I need her to get to talk to somebody expeditiously where I can't get to the city manager and the staff is not actually helping me. So people, you have to think about this. You have a full-time school teacher that wants to come into politics. So you need to understand exactly who you're getting, right? Exactly who you're getting. In this debate, right, she kind of wanting to do the young versus old type of deal, right? And the Levi guy, right, the prophet healing guy, Dr. Levi, he had a trick question that he had to throw at Bay Lewis. He said one was like, what do you say when you have a people that's old or whatnot, has been doing this for a long time, not getting anything done in the city? You know what Mr. Bay Lewis had to say? Repeat the question. So it was kind of funny, right? So it was a dig at Mr. Lewis. I mean, people, look, Mr. Lewis should have a gold freaking statue over at City Hall of strictly the workers, not workers comp, the civil rights voting case that he has, right? Him, Walter Mosley, and a few other people filed the lawsuit because black people were not getting represented over here, right? So in order to alleviate that, he and them fought and sued the city of Port Arthur, and I think it went to the Supreme Court, right? So that alone should give this man the right to have a statue, and to say that he hasn't done anything, that's stupid. He's done just that one thing, is the most that anybody have ever done as a politician, right? And we know that's not the only thing he's done. He's also been doing, a lot of different things with different people when they have different problems, and a lot of other things he can kind of go into that he can rumble off the top of his head that I can't, right? And for anyway, see, when they tell you that, they think you're stupid, people. When they tell you, well, Bay Lewis or such and such a person have been here for a long time and they haven't done nothing. The type of government that we have, right, is a council manager form of government. Just like I showed you the video where Charlotte Moses say, with 4 votes, we can change anything. And the problem with the right people not having a majority of votes, you have a lot of the crooks, a lot of the wrong people, in my opinion, that have the majority vote, and they're stopping the process, right? So you can go ahead and start a process going on, like how Mr. Harold Ducette said, hey, when I was on council, we had this for the streets. We had this amount of money to hit all the streets in the city, not just one street. And Charlotte Moses say she understood the direction that he's talking about. And she said, basically, with 4 votes, we can change anything. So if you on council, right, and you do sit down the blueprint to get something done, with 4 votes, you can go ahead and screw all of that up, right? You can go ahead and change all of that up. So that's why you need people like Bay Lewis. You need people like Harold Ducette that's on there, that have the intelligence, the testicular fortitude, and the determination to do the right thing. And you have to and understand, right? These people like Tiana the Curious, I'm pretty sure she was recruited. She didn't really have and from the points that she read, right, there's some old points. There's some old talking points. There's some old Unite PA talking points. That's that old Carl Parker talking points, right? She's, from what I heard her say, what I've heard either some people say or she said, that she really don't want to talk about the council because she don't know who she's going to work with. Now, if a person can't stand for you that's not on council, right, how can she stand for you when she's on council? And I've heard that she said that she has some plans but don't want to reveal it. I'm like, ma'am, this the time you need to reveal what you're going to do. What are you holding back for? See, this is the problem. We get all these sneaky, silly ass candidates that don't have a clue what the flip they're supposed to do. So they're going to sell you and I on some dreams that, hey, I'm not going to disclose it right there. I'm going to disclose it when I get in there. So no, you need to screen these politicians right now and make sure that they have your interests before they get in here. And they need to stand on it. They need to stand on a particular position that they have, right? So you and I can know when they get on council, they will stand for the right thing. And let me and understand this, right? When you have an actual storm and emergency event going on, who would you want to have, Mr. Cure or Bay Lewis? You really need to think about this, right? A person with Mr. Bay Lewis experience, it's crazy. Politics in Port Arthur. This the only spot where the more experience you have, the worse you are as a candidate in some people's mind. And the less experience you have, the better you are. And that's the problem why we cannot move, like they say, move this city forward. Because you have all of these corrupt, it's not about young or old, because anybody can get some new ideas. I can go listen to somebody, I could be 100 years old, go listen to somebody on TV, take the idea, try to implement it over here. So it's not that the fact that they want to, that it's an old versus new type of thinking, but it's control, right? It is control. These people, in my opinion, like Mr. Cure, Tiffany Hamilton, Marks, Donald Frank, most of these people are actually, puppets, puppet politicians. They're actually controlled to mismanage the city, in my opinion, right? They are controlled to do the wrong thing. So, just like with the flyer of the Port Arthur Fire Department that came out, right? The fire department's not giving anybody money. That's not going to go for them. And you can see, Mr. Charlie Lewis, he was a firefighter. They haven't endorsed him neither the two times that he ran for council. So they should tell you something. If they're not going to endorse a firefighter as their own, it has to be something there, right? And you got to understand, these organizations like the fire department, the police department, they have people that are out of town, right? They have a majority of people working that's not from here. But they have a lot of political power because they give to the PACs. I don't know about the police union, the police were not, they kind of, messed up. Mr. McDougal was over here. He was kind of, shaking them down, so to speak. So that's why these contracts can be favorable to the fire department, right? Because they use their money and to influence these politicians. So they don't have to have the votes when they have the money. So let me go ahead and break down the sort of my off the dome monologue I want to give. The misconception of diversity, right? Oh, of course, my pick for one is Bay Lewis. The misconception of diversity is that you have a lot of these candidates and people talking about, hey, we need diversity. Now the city doesn't represent the people or whatever, young, old, white, Hispanic, whatever, right? Now they only say this when it's black folk in council. You never hear this from the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club, or any other organization that deals with money, right? You don't hear them say that about the school district. Why don't you hear them say that the school district needs diversity? But because the school district is controlled, right? The city of Port Arthur, they still have some fight in it. The school system is already corrupt, all the way corrupt. That's why you see all these bad, poor, corrupt politicians come from the school district in one way or another, either former board members or hall monitors, principals, teachers, substitute, whatever, So You know, all of these trash politicians coming from the school district, they're already corrupt. That's a breeding form for corrupt politicians, in my opinion. So you only hear this in black institution that has like a fight within themselves, right? So that's the issue we have, I have with diversity, and it's not sincere. Now, when black folks needed diversity, right, because we were being oppressed. You don't have white folks being oppressed by blacks. You don't have Hispanics being oppressed by blacks. You have a system where you can go ahead and get on council, right? Before they had blacks on there were whites on there, right? White folks was running this city, so to speak. And you had a first Hispanic mayor, right? The first minority mayor was Oscar Ortiz, and then you had a significantly less population of Hispanics back then as you do now. So, you just have to come in and go ahead and want to run. So, that process is open. So anybody can run, Hispanics, white or black. But what would help the minority position if you had the single member districts when the original 5 and 6 were getting chopped off for 7 and 8. So you talk about diversity, but hell, y'all let those seats go by the wayside when you had the Pakistani council member come down here, Osman Swati. So that's another thing that you had to think about. You had the time where anybody as a minority, white, black, Indian, Hispanic, whatever, would have representation because everything was broken down into single member districts. So that's the fight you need to go ahead and fight if you want to have diversity. So, and to be represented. Now, a lot of this diversity talk started when you had the Chamber of Commerce, right? The Chamber of Commerce, they got rid of McDougal and that other police chief. When they got rid of McDougal, they was mad because some black council members was able to fire a white man, city manager at the time. City manager was incompetent. He had lost $25 million on the equipment because he failed to move them to higher ground to the landfill after he was told to do so. But he didn't want to listen to any black folks tell him some order. So that's why we lost $25 million. He was just a fluke. He was a complete nut. So doing things all off on the book. So that's why they had got rid of him. So, you need to understand that anybody, especially in politics, talk about diversity, they're really talking about the removal of black folks in them seats. And it's crazy because I hear dumbass black folk talking about diversity. Yeah, you need to have diversity in here. Well, if anybody want to run for a seat, you can run for a seat. Nobody can stop him. They was able to stop black folks, put literacy tests, put all kinds of different roadblocks in the way, but there is no roadblocks right now. So you have these young people, you have some people that don't have a clue what they're talking about, that want to run, just running because somebody told them to run, right? Trust me, they would not let District 1 be open for Bay Lewis. They would not let District 1 open, so, they had to recruit her because look at this, she was with the Bartees the last time she ran, right? So she was with Brandon Bartee, I think she was on, I think Chris Bates gave her a shout out at his scholarship banquet or luncheon or whatever you call it. He gave her a shout out. So they all clicked in with that little group with, the Bartees, Bates, The Cure, Tiffany Hamilton, and the mother cats that's draining this city, for the resources and whatnot, in my opinion. So they were that oppressing class, right? The class that's just keeping this city down. So, she's involved with them. So you got to understand these people and oh yeah, and there's one other thing I want to say. When she said that she was trying to be the person to unite, look, everybody claim they want to be the person that unites. But when they get in there, you're going to understand, you're going to unite with the right thing, or you're going to unite with the wrong thing. You're going to unite with evil because there's no uniting evil. You have to fight the evil. So this is where people get mixed up. You got people coming there and give you all kind of flashy titles, and I didn't like she put the her business or whatever she called it, her business, the PA Reloaded thing, in with her campaign. You have to take a look at that. People could be using that stuff for financial motives or whatnot. So you really want to watch out how you toe the line with your business and your company trying to promote that. Why are you promoting the seed? Because you could violate some election laws, some campaign laws. You just need to be careful because look, we have people. You had your mentor, your previous mentor, Boy T, violate some campaign rules and about to tax him about at least $5,000. So, hey, you just have to look. This is not for puppets, right? You have people that need to get these drainage projects done. You need to have somebody that know how to hold the city manager accountable. You don't need some of these people that need to be training. Hell, should be like the other school board members doing other stuff instead of their job because you have some businesses you got going on, the wig weave business, the hair business. You got the PA Reloaded trying to make money off these vendors with this flea market concept. That's cool. And you're a full-time teacher, so you don't really have the time to dedicate what it takes to dedicate to being a good city council person. And it's sad that she let these people use and going to make her look like a fool, It's just crazy. So understand when the person talks about diversity, they don't have a clue what is going on. They don't understand that the diversity is also it's going to screw them away. Because here, we need a competent council, right? We need a competent council over a diverse council, so to speak. And that's the amount of people that's running. You have black folks running. You need if you want to run as a white person or Latino, whatever, you can go ahead and run. But to try to go there and just to say, hey, vote for me just to make it diverse, that's hogwash. You're not saying that about the school board, So understand that when people use this diversity sham, it's like a reversal. It's basically anti-black. It's like this, right? A better example I can give you, look at the Minister Louis Farrakhan, right? You have Louis Farrakhan, Nick Cannon, Kyrie Irving, all of these black folks, right, are supposedly anti-Semitic. And hell, a lot of people can't really tell you what the anti-Semitic issue was in the statement. You know what I mean? So it's like they try to use civil rights against black folks, right? Since civil rights was to help black folks, they try to use it against them, right? So these racial issues, right? It's just like individuals, since black folks have been victims of racism, now they're trying to point to black folks as being the aggressors of racism. It's like a reverse game they try to play on blacks, just like with the anti-Asian hate bill, right? They was trying to say black folks just beating up Asians, going out playing the knockout game. Excuse me. My doggone throat is dry as hell. So it's like playing like black folks playing a knockout game to these Asians, which it really isn't true. That's just a lot of propaganda, right? So you have these new candidates thinking they're going to get some money off these flea market pop-up shops. Flea market pop-up shops and, these other little side hustles are trying to help their business by going in and just sitting on council and agreeing with everybody else agreeing with. So these are just tricks that other folks get you to play, right? These are tricks that, the ruling class, like the chamber and these other, individual outside think tanks that they do to try to look for different ways of trying to control Port Arthur. And that's one way of doing it. Once they can put actual bona fide white folk in there, they can control it and start getting these jobs out. They can start, firing folks and contracting out these jobs. So, and that's what I think I heard I may have heard Opie say that one time, Alan Vodka. I think I may have heard him say that. So you just have to, man, you just have to just watch out, understand that these people that they have in there are not, they don't have a clue what's going on. They don't see how they're being used. And they're just confused as a lot of folks. So understand the diversity crap is an anti-black measure, so to speak. They're just trying to use civil rights against black folks. And the verse was there to help black folks get on. They're trying to use it. Oh, okay, we need diversity, so we don't need you to put black folk on there more, but we need to get somebody else in there. So that's all it is, a reversal, a game reversal. So, you know, be aware of propaganda, understand it, and look out for it. And hey, that was the latest issue of the PA Political Revolution podcast. And until next time, take it easy. Peace. Share and like the video. Share and like the video. Appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Thanks. Peace.